in just a few minutes about, what things are going to look like in the months and the years to come. But the truth is when we think about the dramatic changes that our industry has gone through over the course of the last 20, 25 years, if there's anybody who has become quite used to change and has shown the ability to react to change, it's really our industry. And this is just another obstacle, so to speak, that we are going to have to fight our way through as we look to the future. So it has been my privilege, absolutely. Like I said, I think I know most of you on the session today, but it truly is my privilege to work with independent JanSan distributors, to work with the incredible team at Triple S, Kevin, Jim Keogh, Mike Tighe, Ray Ranger, Laura Shanley, Sandy Masillo. The team goes on and on. Of course, our good friend Matt Kelleher. It's so wonderful to work with everybody over the course of the last 3 years, and looking forward to the future.
So thanks, Dan. So with all that being said, new normal. What's the new normal, right? What are we facing? Exactly what will be different than you think that will impact our members, partners, with their customers going on right now? What's going to be the new norm?
Yeah, new normal it seems to be the phrase of the month, so to speak. I think in April it was social distancing, and now that we've entered May, it seems to be the new normal as we all look into the future. And like I said, our industry has gone through so much change, and there's the old worn cliche that the only constant in life is change. But as we think about everything that we've gone through in our careers and even in our personal lives, we know that change comes in very different levels. And what we are about to embark on, what we are about to face as an industry, is really a seismic shift in how people approach cleaning. And that's all guided by the fact that our customers are going to have really heightened expectations, right? The folks that we are selling to are going to need to deal with facility occupants, be they students and parents in a K-12 school district, or residents and their families in long-term care, or guests in a hotel or things like that. Those folks are really going to start to expect and demand a clean, safe, and healthy indoor environment. They are going to expect that facilities are doing everything they can to protect against not only COVID, but other public health outbreaks again. And they're going to be worried. It's going to be natural to be worried. There is going to be fear out there, concern for their own health, concern for the health of their friends, concern for the health of the people that they live with, that they may bring it to. And so it's going to be up to our customers to instill a sense of confidence and to make those occupants feel comfortable. And in essence, cleaning and disinfection will be viewed as a basic safety precaution. That's just the reality. It will no longer be a luxury. It's going to be a necessity. Now, it's important to keep in mind, however, that this is not just about COVID-19. And rather, what we have to do as we look to this new normal, as we look to these higher expectations, is understand that this is not a short-term response. This needs to be a long-term approach to cleaning and disinfection, and a long-term approach to how we deal with our customers, because, oh, sure, we're dealing with COVID-19 today, and we'll be dealing with it presumably in the fall and possibly even to 2021. But we also have to deal with all those other public health outbreaks that we always talk about, MRSA in athletic departments, and norovirus, and who knows when something like C. diff is suddenly going to hop from the healthcare world to the K-12 world. And of course, what's going to happen in the year 2035 when the Kevin Chow virus, threatens to harm us all, or whatever the case may be. We really have to look forward. But the real keys to this new environment and the new normal are going to be these heightened expectations and the demand for more effectively cleaned indoor environments.
So, you and I have spoken, and we've talked about this during regional meetings. Very much your Power of Clean program has been like this. And so I got a couple questions. One is, how do you know this? Have you done a survey or anything like that? I'm just kind of curious about that. And secondly, dare we say time is right, that this opportunity is finally a chance for us to get our customers to take cleaning seriously?
No question about it. I'd be lying if I didn't say that the last couple of years, actually longer than that, going back to my time at ISSA, have been very frustrating as we've tried to get end users to buy into this concept of the power of clean and to buy into this concept of cleaning as a true investment. I mean, at times, Kevin, you and I have sat down at dinner and you know, after meeting with different end user groups and said, my goodness, let's just bang our head into the table. But at the same time, I firmly believe that we are faced with a new opportunity, and it is an opportunity that, dare I say, we can take advantage of. You know, I think there's a lot of people that want to pussyfoot around that whole concept that COVID-19 has been this terrible, terrible situation, and it has. And I don't mean to soft sell it in any way, shape, or form, but I also don't think that it's bad to say that this is an opportunity that we can take advantage of. This is an opportunity to really hit home all of these different concepts that we have talked about for years and years and years. Ears are open. For the first time, we truly have a receptive audience. Customers know that they need to focus on cleaning and disinfection. I have spent the last month or so, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, talking to different end user groups, talking to individual superintendents at school districts, infection control people at long-term care, and they all recognize immediately that this is going to be part of what we just called the new normal. We also, as many of our members know, we also sent out a survey to a group of end users, had about 100 or so respond. 96% of the respondents agreed, with 68% strongly agreeing with the following statement. Following the COVID-19 pandemic, customers, guests, and other facility occupants will have a greater expectation for clean, healthy, and safe facilities and will actually evaluate the visible cleanliness, health, and safety of those facilities. Think about that. 96% agree with this. 96% is recognize this. And when asked to what level do you agree with this, is this just going to be something that people are just kind of caring about? No, no, no. 64% of those folks, and these are the customers once again, say that they believe that their customers, the facility occupants, are going to be extremely concerned. But as I've had these conversations with different end users, they're worried. They are worried because they are struggling to know where to start. They are struggling to know how to put together a program. And one of the reasons for this, and you, Kevin, you and I have talked about this a lot. We've talked about this as part of our team meetings as we've thought about this new program that we're going to cover, is the fact that the so-called experts and those so-called authorities who are handing out their guidelines for reopening facilities or their tenets for what the future looks like, you know what they're doing? They're regurgitating the same old information. They're saying it very simply. They're saying, well, we've got to disinfect high touch points. We've got to clean more. We've got to intensify our programs. That's it. And that is completely it. There's no facts behind them. There's no detail behind them. There's no protocol behind them. There's no specifics. And so as I've talked to these end users, they are desperate. They are craving protocols that they can immediately implement in order to meet this new normal and to meet these expectations. They are looking for somebody, anybody, to provide them with the information and the guidance that they desperately need. They know that they have to do it. They just don't know how.
Oh, I assume that's us. I assume that's our Triple S members, right?
It has to be. It absolutely has to be. Look, we are the experts. We have the knowledge. We are the ones who have committed our livelihoods, right? Who have committed our careers to this industry. We are the ones who come with all the data. We're the ones who have all the training protocols, all these different things. And frankly, if we don't do it, who's going to do it? I just mentioned the CDC. Look, they're experts on certain things. They're not experts on cleaning and disinfection. OSHA, not experts on cleaning and disinfection. Public health organizations, be they state organizations, be they local, not experts on cleaning and disinfection. They are going to say the exact same things that they're currently saying, which is regurgitating the same old points that we all know, right? If I told end users, hey, we're going to come to you with the best guidance you can get. We are the experts. You need to implement a cleaning program that is focused on cleaning and disinfection of high touch points. They'd look at me and they'd say, how? What the heck does that mean? What we have to do, and I'm telling you, it is up to us. We can take the lead on this. We can put ourselves at the forefront. What we have to do is put the right information in the hands of our Triple S family, those members, so that they can then help their customers implement that cleaning regimen that's focused on meeting all these new expectations. That is our mandate for the future, in my opinion.
So I like the partners and protection idea and the concept and everything, but look, I'm a Triple S DSR. I've been doing this for a while. I know the products, et cetera, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. So tell me about this partners and protection program. What does it really mean?
Well, we're really thinking, I mean, as a cohesive whole, what we're really looking at the Partners in Protection program to be is a full comprehensive program that our Triple S family can bring to the customer that can make it extremely easy for them to implement an effective cleaning regimen that includes not only the how-to and the how, I mean, not only the what we have to do and the how-to we're going to do it, but what are we going to use? How are we going to monitor, et cetera, et cetera. And I like to think of the program really in 3 key steps. Step 1 is where we establish for protection, right? And this is where, first and foremost, we're going to start off by establishing new cleaning standards. And we know that those cleaning standards are going to be increased. We know they're going to be raised. The expectations, I can't say this enough, right? If I had a quarter for every single time I've already used the word expectations during this session, I'd have a big old stack of quarters, and it's going to get even bigger, because we have to make sure that the standard set is appropriate in order to instill that level of confidence and in order to actually be able to provide a clean, healthy indoor environment. And then once we set that standard, that's where these new cleaning protocols come into place. And as I'm going to talk about, ad nauseum, is the fact that we cannot rely on the same old thing. This is no longer going to be a case of the custodial workers start their work at 4 o'clock after school and they go through all their different policies and all their different processes and procedures. And well, if they skip the desks, so what, as long as the floor looks good and the restrooms look good, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Nope. These are going to be protocols based on best practices that truly have innovative techniques and that will rely on this new concept of collaborative cleaning. And then, besides having these standards and these new protocols, also having an effective cleaning solutions portfolio, making sure that the customers are in fact using the right products and the right tools for the job. We were on a call this morning, Kevin, and we talked with our good friend Ray Ranger, who was talking about some of the issues in long-term care facilities. And he shared with us a story about visiting a long-term care facility recently. He was asked to come in and to, I think he said he was just asked to observe what the cleaning workers were doing. And he said that they were using a remediation chemical that they were just spraying into the air. No pre-cleaning, no agitation, not even using a proper EPA registered disinfectant. And he's sitting there and he's like, observe, I want to tell you exactly what I'm thinking right now. And so even, heck, you and I, Kevin, have talked ad nauseum about how we have to focus more on, being a partner and getting away from the concept of products. Products are still going to be an important part of this. As Ray has always liked to say, it's processes plus products equal business outcomes. So step 1, establish these new things. Establish the new norm that is necessary in order for success. And then step 2, educate for protection. Make sure that those frontline cleaning service workers are in the best position to succeed. Make sure that they fully understand the processes, the unique nature of the different products that they're using, these new protocols, and exactly what their responsibility is. And as you're going to see through the Partners in Protection program, this is going to extend beyond just the custodial staff. And this is also going to necessitate training of the teachers, the other staff members, possibly even extending education to the students themselves or the residents themselves in long-term care, or for, guests in hotels and the like. And you know what? And I'm so excited. I got to tell you something. When I heard that, when you invited me to be on this session today and you told me that I was going to share the stage with Dave Thompson, I couldn't be more excited because this is his world. And this is where he flourishes and has the best programs that you can ask for. So this is where he is going to be incredibly helpful. And also making sure that it's also the training and the education is not a one-time thing, but having continual education where they're constantly being retrained, and also, you know, utilizing all the tools and resources at our disposal. You know, sometimes I don't even want to look at what percentage of our membership is using our mobile coach tool, because the number is actually small. And the reason I say the number is small is that if we have 126 members and there aren't 127 members using mobile coach, that means there are some members that are doing it wrong, right?
So basically then, Dan, you're talking about, we've got 3 different steps here, right? We've got establishing for protection, train for protection, and inspect for protection. So, you know,
Yes.
I assume that you're going to be, or we're going to be helping arm our members with specific tools and resources. What type of things will you be making available?
Well, you're correct. Absolutely. Our goal is to certainly make this as easy as possible for the members to deliver to their customers. And it all does start with cleanliness standards. We have to make sure we're setting the standard for cleaning. Many people know that under our Triple S Gateway program, we've developed a proprietary rating system known as the Tier C, or Triple S Inspection, Evaluation, and Rating System, which sets out cleanliness standards in 4 color-coded tiers. And what these standards really do, in essence, is they set an importance level, right? I mean, one thing we may need to do that we're going to learn is have to sacrifice some of the tasks that we've done in the past. Floors may not be as important because, you know, unless you're in a daycare setting, presumably high school students are not getting down on their hands and knees and licking the floor, which means that there isn't as great of an opportunity for cross-contamination and transmission from the floor, yet the desks are crucially important. So setting these cleanliness standards, which really dictates the importance of these different areas. And then having best practice protocols, laying out precisely what needs to be done through sample scopes of work and actual cleaning plans. What are we going to do on a daily basis? How often are we going to do it? And who's going to be responsible for doing it? So for example, right, we're going to clean and disinfect or wipe down the desks multiple times per day because of the possibility of cross-contamination. We are going to make sure that every single time a door is opened or closed, immediately afterwards, we're taking a wipe and we're cleaning that up. And then also making sure that those scopes of work and those cleaning plans also include the traditional things that we're used to, that we do on a daily basis. Ultimately, being in a position to provide to our customers a standard set of protocols that they can immediately implement, so that the custodial manager in a K-12 school can say to their superintendent, listen, you place the responsibility on me to implement a new program that will help meet these new expectations, and that at its core, the most important thing that we can do is safeguard the health of the students and the staff members. And this is the program that we got from our Triple S member, our partner in protection, that does precisely that. And then it expands to the other things, though, that I've started to mention. Step 2 being the training, right? Having the right training plans, having the right training programs. That's where someone like Dave Thompson and his ACE program comes into play. And then the third step is inspecting for protection, making sure that we're making that whatever the protocol is, that they're complying with it, that they're actually following it, making sure that they're using the right products, and making sure through inspections, evaluations, that they are in fact cleaning to the standard. And this is where the Gateway mobile platform comes into play. You see, we had no clue that we were going to have this gigantic pandemic that was going to close down our country when we introduced the Gateway program 2 years ago. Yet now all of a sudden, frankly, and I admit I'm biased, it's my baby, but we have the perfect tool that is currently in the hands of Triple S members to allow them to perform these inspections and to allow them to assess compliance with these different protocols. It's all there.
Yeah, so, you know, you mentioned a lot of the experts and authorities are having, I mean, they pretty much, they do the same thing, right? The same old stuff. They're not really doing anything differently. So why is this going to be new? What's going to be innovative about it? What's going to be different in the protocols in regards to the Partners in Protection program?
Yeah, I started to talk about this briefly when I talked about some of the new best practices. But what I really want to focus on at first is expound on this idea of collaborative or cooperative cleaning. Okay, traditionally, cleaning a school has been the responsibility of the custodial department. The custodian or the janitor or the sanitation engineer, whatever you want to call him or her, he or she was responsible for cleaning the cafeteria after meals and then going around the school mostly at night, right, and making sure that they did all the custodial tasks. Those are the days of the past. Rather, it will be everyone's responsibility. Everybody is going to have to chip in. It's going to be a true community collaborative effort in order to make sure that we are in fact carrying forth the protocols that we're going to set forth. And like I said, setting a standard really isn't new. It's something that our customers should have been doing always. Establishing protocols and setting forth plans to how to get there, that would be the what, right? What are we going to do on a daily basis in terms of making sure we can meet the standard? That's not really new. I mean, frankly, I've been disappointed in how few school districts have a basic scope of work. I've always questioned how in the world the custodians know what to do on a nightly basis if they don't have a cleaning plan. But some of them do, and it's been a concept that we've talked about for years and years and years. Ensuring training as well, the how. What are we going to do being the cleaning plan? How are we going to do it being the training? But what's really new are these innovative best practices, right? Things like having students, if they're old enough, take a sanitizing wipe before classrooms, walking with that wipe, wiping the desk, and then discarding it and sitting down. Making sure that we've got hand sanitizer in the right locations throughout the school so that we can consistently make sure that we are focusing on this whole concept of hand hygiene. Having the responsibility fall on the school nurse in order to clean areas of her office. The folks in the athletic department being responsible for making sure that the gym mats are cleaned and disinfected appropriately to avoid MRSA and things like that. It will place incredible responsibility on different individuals. And even though, sometimes we don't like to talk about this, it's also going to talk about best practices on how to avoid cleaning. We don't want to open doors if we don't have to, right? We want to make sure that we're not sharing computers or tablets or whiteboard markers or things like that so that we don't have cross-contamination. I mean, schools have already talked about, the fact that in the future, rather than having students go from classroom to classroom to classroom, there may be the opportunity to have them stay in one classroom. Well, if the same student is in the same classroom all day, that really cuts down on the number of times that those desks will need to be wiped. But one of the things we have to keep in mind if we think about this new program is the need for efficiency, because most schools are not going to suddenly find a money tree. Budgets may be an issue. Now, I am extremely enthused by the fact that I've spent the last 2 weeks talking to a number of superintendents. And while they may just be talking now, their message has been, we know we have to do this. And we know we're going to have to make an investment in this. So whatever it costs, we can't get this wrong. We have to get this right. So please, partner in protection, bring us new technologies, and bring us a communication plan, because we brag about what we're doing and making sure the community knows.
So, Dan, though, that sounds great, but it also sounds like a lot of work. A lot of work for schools, the students, the teachers, the staffing. Sounds like a lot of work for the customers themselves. And even us SSS members, us DSRs, right? We were used to going out there and selling stuff. So you're telling me now I'm going to have to go out and do all this extra training and stuff. So what about the SSS members and their reps, us, our DSRs? What's the plan for that? How do we go about selling it differently?
I will tell you, for starters, to speak to your first point, that yeah, this is going to require some effort, right? I keep telling my 10-year-old son, Braden, no, you're not going to make the NBA if you never practice. And that's why that kid, since he only has like 20 minutes of e-learning a day here in Chicagoland is out there for 4 hours a day when it's not raining. Anyway, there's going to be an effort. One of the things that we are committed to is to trying to make this program as easy to use as possible, to try to make it as easy for the DSR to implement, as well as for the DSR to then help their customer implement. But when I think about what this program is all about and how it's going to impact the distributor sales rep, the truth of the matter is that this is really the hallmark program to allow our members to truly embrace a concept that you and I have been talking about for 3 years now. And that's this whole concept of consultative selling. This whole, I'm sure that if we asked, if I was standing in front of a room of people right now, first, I would say, by show of hands, how many people have heard Dan Wagner, Kevin Chow, Jim Keogh, Mike Tighe, Ray Ranger, and Laura Shanley say, you got to stop being a distributor and you got to start being a partner? And 95% of the people would raise their hands. 3% of the people just entered the industry, and the other 2% of the people slept through our entire regional meeting, right? Because that's something that we've been hitting on for years. Listen, I can't say this enough. I have had so many conversations. It's not just about the surveys that we conducted. It's the conversations that I have had one-on-one with superintendents and business administrators and infection control experts and facility managers. They are craving this information and they need to get it from the true expert, and now we also know that a lot of this is new. You just mentioned that. And so we are going to have to provide, as part of this Partners in Protection, it's not just the Triple S member being a partner with their customer. Triple S is a corporate entity being a partner with our members, right? And so we understand that there has to be assistance and training for the DSR. In fact, Kevin, I love the way you've been a little coy asking all these questions about this program when you're the one that's putting the sales program for the DSRs together. So I'm going to turn the tables on you and have you talk a little bit about what you're doing for the DSRs.
Thank you. It's interesting because actually Mr. Paul Kelly just asked a question here. He said, will there be basic script frameworks for talking to clients about protocols? Also, will there be written protocols? And then also Adam Wilson said, it is more work. Yes, and that's why we're doing it. So don't give it away.
Adam, that's right.
But to get back to Paul's question, yes, Paul and everybody else out there, our goal is to have a special Partners in Protection sales playbook. And that's going to include who do you talk to, scripts, specific sales processes, verbiages, simulations that will have handling objections, even some competitive worksheets of what your competitors may be stating now and how you're going to differentiate yourself, and even some scheduling of how you might market yourself on a consistent basis to make sure that you're getting to those right decision makers. So that's our goal, and our goal is to try to keep it as simple as possible, but yet back to Dan just stated and what Adam said, it is going to be work. It's going to take us, we have to do this now. We have to get to that next level, because back to what you said in regards to the surveys, our superintendents, the true decision makers are asking for this and they want it, and we need to provide it to them. We can no longer be calling just on the janitors. We've got to call all the way up the food chain and be able to bring these solutions to them, differentiate you from everybody else. So with that, I hope that answers some of the questions. We're still in process of developing all of that, and any inputs that you guys can provide us would be great. Now, with this whole new environment, things are going crazy and things are changing fast, right? When is this going to be ready?
Well, let me start off by hitting a little bit, anybody about, and Adam, thank you for saying that about effort. And so I'm going to jump on a soapbox a little bit here and preach maybe, I don't know. But anybody who knows Dan Wagner knows that Dan Wagner is incredibly passionate about sports and most notably about the Chicago Cubs. But what you may not know is that I am also incredibly passionate about Disney, which may sound weird. And one of my favorite movies is the movie Coco. And I really hate to quote the bad guy in Coco. For those of you who have not seen the movie, there's a character named De La Cruz. And he says, you got to seize your moment. Kevin, have you seen this movie, right?
No.
This is, I hate quoting the bad guy, but This is our moment, okay? I look back to H1N1 and I look at the fact that for a little while there, hand sanitizer exploded and, and we had a great short-term stimulus. This is our industry's watershed moment, folks. This is our opportunity to truly prove to everybody what we've been talking about for years. Now, we don't want to say, I told you so. I can say that to this group because you're all family. But we want to, this is our moment. We have a receptive audience. We have open ears. We have, when I was with ISSA, and I used to go around to end user meetings and I would speak to them about the true power of clean. And if I had a room of 100 people, I knew I was legitimately talking to 20 people and the rest, the other 80 were there for the free lunch, right? Now we're talking to all 100. We have our opportunity. And the other thing I do want to point out is the fact that this is a true team effort on behalf of the entire Triple S family. Okay, we've got myself and Ray Ranger working on the actual best practice protocols, the what should be cleaned, when it should be cleaned, who should be clean it, what should be used, et cetera, et cetera. And those are going to be, I'm going to put up here available soon because my law career taught me never to lock yourself into a specific time frame. But when I say soon, I'm talking weeks, not months, because the information is needed now. We got Kevin and Mike Tighe working on that DSR piece, those training scripts, making sure that everybody in the Triple S family is prepared to deliver all this. And so the goal is to have all these resources and documents available as possible. Now, the fact that the schools are closed for the year and the fact that the superintendents are focused right now on things like graduations and virtual learning means that we have bought ourselves a little time. But the other thing we want to do is we want to get ahead of the game. We know Triple S can be the leader in this. We know that this could be a gigantic, enormous, awesome opportunity for Triple S as an organization. And much like De La Cruz says, we want to seize our moment. And as we look to the future, we will be hosting a number of webinars to train you guys, because if we don't put you guys in the right position, it's going to take an effort on our behalf to put you in the right effort to carry this forward, then we fail. And hopefully, keeping my fingers crossed, that's why I've got my little praying cat down there in the corner, is hopefully we can give you direct assistance through live sessions, through visits with your customers this fall. That's what Kevin and I are hoping for. That's what Mike's hoping for, and Ray, and everybody. Your entire Triple S team misses you. We want to get back on the road, and we want to shake your hand and give you a hug and help you out. And then the other piece of the puzzle, and here comes one of those famous Dan Wagner segues, is training. Training is going to be immensely important, and nobody knows training more than David Thompson.
Perfect segue. Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much. Great stuff. I'm really excited that we're working on it. I will tell you, I know that you've put a lot of effort and a lot of passion into this, so we're looking forward to it. Mr. Thompson, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, folks.
Great. So, with as Dan talked about, training is going to be a critical part of it, and becoming an infection control specialist is going to be even more important with that. So, Dave, before we start off here, maybe you should introduce yourself a little bit and how you got this whole Academy of Cleaning Excellence program going.
Well, thanks for having me on this afternoon. And Dan, I did catch a few of your little blunders there. You tried to catch education and training there a few times. I did catch that. Folks, I've been doing this for a number of years. Probably the white beard will show that. However, I think, as Dan said, this is nothing new, but instead of just regurgitating the same old stuff, one of the things that we have here at the Academy all the time is, where's a DVD? Just give me a DVD so I can throw it out to all my people. We don't do that. So that's what makes the Academy quite unique. We've been doing live remote education for close to 4 years now. It's nothing new for us. We are ready. And to that point, we conduct our live remote sessions. We've been doing this on Zoom. We've been doing it now for about 15 weeks now. About every 10 days, this class you see in front of you, the Accredited Infection Expert, is live education. It's a live classroom. We have a exchange of information just like this. So they also have an exam. They take an exam. They have to pass that exam in order to get a certificate. We'll talk more about that as we go through a few slides, Kevin, but we don't just have infection prevention. We've got almost 30 courses. They're ready to go. There's no time delay. We're doing it now.
So what do you mean by accredited? I mean, because, there's a lot of trainings out there, but what do you mean by accredited?
Well, let's first of all, let's correct a couple of words here, folks. Training is skill. Training is knowing how to do something. Education is quite different. Education is knowing why I should do it. And unfortunately, what we try to do is train in something. And so, well, it's kind of like a gentleman taught me a long time ago. I've got 2 legs and a brain. Treat me like such, educate me, and then train me to do what I know how to do. And I think that's the difference of what we do here. First of all of our education is meant to instruct the frontline worker how to do the process and stay safe. I mean, it's our prime directive. We have to, especially in this pandemic, it is about keeping that frontline worker safe above all costs from every avenue. And so every educational course that we put out, that's the main thing. Then you can go into what is it that we're doing, the tools of the trade. Why should I use this? Why should I do that? All of our education is product agnostic. So it fits every different organization, every different plan. The protocol that you're putting together at Triple S, we're not going to fight that. The thing is we're a third-party certification program. We call this accreditation certification. It's all pretty much the same thing. It's a third-party program. We're not affiliated with any one manufacturer, any one distributor, any one chemical company. We're not going to preach to you to use only a certain tool or a certain thing. What we want you to do is ask, why am I doing what I'm doing? And is there a better way? Hopefully, if we've done our job right, you're going to come out of a class going, maybe I need to be looking at something different, which goes right into what Dan was saying. Hey, it's consultative selling. Let us open up their minds, send them through a class, and I guarantee you, they're going to start asking you questions.
Yeah, so, like Dan, who's very passionate about this, I know you are too, so tell us why is this so important for our DSRs?
Well, I think the thing is, as I've heard you, both of you talk already, and I agree with Adam here on the chat. It does take work, but it's work we should have been doing all along. And unfortunately, we weren't doing our job right. So I'm not going to lay this all on the responsibility of the people out there. It's some of us our responsibility. And so picking up that, it's taking care of that frontline person. Let us do the heavy work. All you've got to do is say, like Dan said, they're hungry. They want it now. We've got it. It's going. I mean, I've got a class last week that we had 100 people on an online session like this for 7 hours, a 7-hour class. Now, if you can get 100 people taking a class for 7 hours through remote learning and they're signing up, I've got 30 next week. I've got 125 at another college the next week, and it doesn't stop, gentlemen. So, Daryl Hicks put it very, very succinctly back in 2006, as you see on the screen. One professionally educated, certified, well-trained, conscientious housekeeper, or whatever name you want to put there, given the right tools and enough time to do their job, will prevent more disease than a room full of doctors can cure. We are on the front line of keeping people safe. We're in a pandemic. I mean, like Dan said, and you did too, Kevin, we have an opportunity here, and I'm not bashful. I'm taking advantage of it, guys.
Yeah, so, so with that, tell us a little bit more about your curriculum, specifically about the curriculum, and who should be going through this? I mean, is it DSRs? Is it end users? I mean, give us an idea there.
Keep on naming them. There isn't anybody. Here's the thing. I have literally had, we're into week 15. We started doing this the first week of February when we saw that this was happening. The infection prevention course we went and augmented it very quickly. And the reason that we continue to do it live is every time that we broadcast this, something changes. Dan, you're very right. Things are changing all the time, and we've got to keep up with it. And that's my job. Our job here at the Academy is to make sure that the information that we put out, the most recent, is the most up to date. So, you know, you see the curriculum here. There's a few points that I always try to make in this curriculum that I feel are the most important. And as you said, is keeping that frontline worker safe, because they're the ones that are using these tools. They're the ones that are going into the building when everybody else has ran out of the building. They're the ones that are trying to make the building safe so that the next people can come in. And if we do not educate them, they're going to do something wrong. I had just a little bit ago, somebody actually said, well, why can't I clean my disposable gloves and use them day over day because I can't get any more? The reason is because you put them on for protection. There's an infectious disease on the outside of those gloves. You don't wash them and hang them up to dry. If you do not take these gloves off correctly, you can die.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk a little bit about PPE, right? Handling PPE, because I don't think people are conscientious about that. So, you know.
Well, Kevin, I think for the DSRs that are listening this afternoon, I think this is probably the first place to go and start the conversation about education. Okay. Literally, these people are buying gloves like they're water. We can't get gloves. But the question is, why are you using them? So one of the things we do at the Academy is we always ask why. And I think this goes to your consultative selling. How can you consult with somebody if you don't know why and they don't know? And when you start asking questions and they don't know, well, of course, you've got to have an answer. So you show them this slide right here. Now, I will tell you this. Here's going to be the challenge for most DSRs. Can you do this? Could you actually take the gloves and put them on and then take them off according to the correct protocol 5 times in a row without error, without thinking? And the reason I'm saying this is because after you do all of this stuff, after you use all the tools, after you use all the chemicals properly, and like Dan said, clean and disinfect, I've got a different word I'd use, but that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right.
At the end of it, Kevin, if you don't take the gloves off right, one little slip, and you now have an infectious disease that, as you can see, I just looked at the TV a little bit ago, they're showing 86,000 deaths so far. Do you want to be one of those? Do you want to be the one that wasn't telling people why they should be taking off their gloves correctly? And then everything else in between.
And you know, honestly, Dave, I mean, to be honest, look, a lot of people don't even think about it. They think, okay, well, hey, I put on the gloves, I put on the mask, it's going to protect me, but every little touch point counts, right?
Oh, don't get me started on a mask. Don't even get there, because the thing is people are taking their mask off with their bare hand, and the outside of the mask is contaminated. So if you take that mask off, or you're all the time fiddling with it, and then you're touching the surfaces, you're just taking that over to places. So what is it? You know, that I end my class, this infection prevention class, and like I said, it's a 7-hour long class. It's not, you know, a couple hours, watch a couple videos. It's intense, because we're talking about an extremely important subject. This is life and death. And I know I'm getting a bit focused, but I mean, you know, this is not, as one of my students said, the time for playing janitor is over. I could not have said it better. So, you know, when you talk about the gloves, the mask, the microfiber, the disinfectant, the sprayer, the mop bucket, whatever it is, you know what? I keep asking this. How do you know you're doing it right? How do you know what's happening? Because you're talking a microbial level. You can't see it. I think this thing about cleaning visible dirt, that word visible should be gone, because microbes doesn't care if it's visible or not. Microbes are going to eat on what you can't see.
So you know that you're taking us to a whole different level, and I think that's the whole idea and the concept of this partners of protection is about the protocols, right? So with that protocols, though, what about measuring results? Because like you just said, if I can't see it, how do I know I'm doing it right? How am I going to measure that, right? So tell me more about that and how that's included in your program.
Well, two things we talk about in class, and we talk about it multiple times during the whole 7-hour day, is that you have to measure, because these are unseen. You cannot see these with naked eye. If you look at a disinfectant, it says that it's not able to work in the presence of a 5% blood serum. I don't know if you've ever tried to do this. If anybody's ever even tried to look, you can't see a 5% blood serum. So if it can't work, then you've got to remove whatever's there, and you can't see it. ATP is one of the, I had a doctor from Australia on my podcast here a couple of weeks ago. By the way, we have a podcast channel. Listen to that if you want to hear the good doctor talk about this. Got far more into it than I can. But he used two things, and we do it as well. The first thing is, if you aren't using a glow marker, you can't tell whether people are doing it or not. And so what he prescribes, and we do as well, is take a glow stick, a little measuring stick, and go around and mark on different things, and then come back and check and see if your staff actually is, well, processing the area. That's the word, by the way, Dan, processing, cleaning and disinfecting, processing. All right. Anyway, so you want to make sure that you process the area, but by using the little glow stick, you find out if they have. Only problem is that doesn't quantify whether the disinfectant actually killed anything or removed anything. The doctor said, you know, somebody could stick their microfiber in the toilet water and wipe it and, well, it'd go away. But was that processed for health? So ATP is the best tool that we have currently to go out and measure the unseen on that surface. This is not about what microbes I picked up. This isn't about whether I picked up bacteria or a virus. This is about measuring our outcomes. If I can't measure the outcome, then how can I validate that I actually was effective? And so to what people are saying, you know, people are going around spraying these with whatever devices, they're spraying whatever disinfectant, and they're charging astronomical fees for it. And there's no measurement, there's no validation. And, you know, as consultants here at Triple S, we can't do that kind of stuff.
So basically, is this type of education training also available in your accreditation program?
Oh, this is what it's all about. You know, the accredited infection prevention expert, people can take it online. We have a full online campus. I just looked at it. We've got about 6,000 people in different campuses all over the United States. But the best thing is to take one of our live sessions like this. This is a picture of our studio where we broadcast from. Goes out on Zoom. Like I said, we literally have capacity to do 100 at a time. We're doing this about every 10 days. You know, the thing is, you can do an online course, and we've got all of the words there and some of the videos. The only problem is that whenever people take an online course, they don't get the live instruction. They don't get the conversation between us. They don't they don't see what everybody else is talking about. The infection prevention isn't the only thing we do, but that's what we're talking about today.
Right, right. And so I know I put up there, I think you've got June 4th and 5th coming up. You've got a program. I think you have one coming up in the next couple of weeks, or more, is it next week?
Well, next week, we're actually doing a 5-day course. What you're looking at here is a 2-day. So, you know, there's 3 different options that we're doing on this infection prevention course. Next week, we're doing 5 1.5-hour afternoons. In June, we actually have 2 different sessions. We're doing them in 2 days. We just got through here a week ago by doing the 7-hour days, which are very long for everybody. So I'd say just go on here, the academyofcleaning.com. You can go to the live instructions. You can find the live instructions if that's what you want to go to a live remote class. If you want the online, hit the online classes. It'll take you there. I think here's the other interesting thing for all of our DSRs that are listening today. What we've seen in the last 14 weeks since we've been pushing and really hitting people is that once they take the infection prevention, then they start learning they don't know a whole lot of stuff. And back to what you said, Dan, they're hungry. They're wanting something. They're looking for it. It's here. It's ready. It's going now. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, Dutch Hollow, one of our Triple S people up there in Illinois, just called. He's got somebody actually this afternoon. They're working to build an online campus with us for the customers, so that all of their people, I think 30 people, can get in there. Just as we were talking here, another one wants. He's got 50 people. Can I get an online campus where they can go in? You know, so Dan, you're very right. The opportunity is now. Adam, very right. It takes some work. Let's get to it. We've got it ready. It's here. It's going. Don't wait. Don't delay.
So what I'm hearing, Dave, then is that not only can our SSS DSRs become infection prevention specialists or experts through your program, but you can take this program to the end user and have them, their custodians and their staffing, better understand how to best take care of their offices, right? So that we could pull this whole partnership protection program with the protocols and education with them, all combine it, and then we're hopefully in the right direction.
I think you got the whole picture. The thing is when you get into this, we wanted to arm all of the DSRs with all of the tools. You know, a mechanic doesn't have one toolbox. He doesn't have one set of wrenches in each toolbox. He's got multiple. As a distributor, you've got multiple different things. You can't go to war, and I do mean war, with one thing. You know, with the Academy, we have the live remote sessions for that. I mean, the very best in education. You know, then if you want to take the online classes, you can. If you want to drill down and your end user needs their own custom campus for them, they can come on. We'll help you set up. It's a yearly subscription fee. And golly, guess what, guys? As a DSR, all you've got to do is put them in classes, let us do the heavy lifting, and you know what? Your distributorship makes money. We don't give this away. This isn't free. This is pay for. You know, you've heard of pay per view. This is pay per user.
Yeah. I agree with you, Dave. Matter of fact, and that's what it's all about, right? So, you know, those of you who are out there, you see Dave's information on the screen. If you need to contact him or learn more about the Academy of Cleaning Excellence and their programs, it's right there for you. While we've got you for a few minutes, Dave and Dan, if you hold on, is there any questions out there? If you guys want to put on the chat, if you got questions, put them out there and we'll see if we can get those answered.
Certainly. Love to have questions. I do that at the end of every class, and then people don't want to talk.
Don't see anything new coming up.
Hey, Dan, I hate to hit you on that, but you know that word processing, I like that word, you know, because everybody says cleaning and disinfection and very few people know what it is. So one of the things we teach is to use the word processing. It is a process. It's not one or the other.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions that have come up, but as you know, I like to kind of wrap things up with how important it is also to share these different ideas with not only your team, but your other SSS members, because you know, that's what all these programs are all about. It's all about sharing and learning from each other. And I think the collaborative cleaning portion that you're talking about, Dan, is going to be really exciting for our members. I really want to thank you, Dan Wagner. Thank you, Dave Thompson, for being on our panel. Thank you, SSS members, for working so hard on the front lines and helping save lives. And if you see here in the near future, you're going to have a really great program called Partners in Protection, along with education and training available from the Academy of Cleaning Excellence, available for you guys and for your end users. Take advantage, take action, be ready, and take care of this opportunity right now. Please stay safe and healthy out there, and we'll see you next time on the Chow Line. Thank you very much.